On Thanksgiving Sunday, Canada's Chief of Defence Staff, General Jennie Carignan, appeared on CTV's weekly in-depth news show, Question Period. When asked about the current state of the Canadian Armed Forces, Carignan's answer was an understatement at best.
There is a lot of room for improvement, that is for sure.
It is time to target what exactly General Carignan meant with that blunt admission of shortcomings. While General Carignan did her best to point out the progress being made along with a wish list of capabilities the CAF hopes to acquire, the fact is that the Canadian military needs nearly everything in their inventory replaced, and they need it yesterday. There are projects underway to acquire major new systems, but the problem with Canada's ponderous defence procurement process is that those lead times are agonizingly long. Take, for instance, the Canadian Surface Combatant, aka the CSC project, to build 15 River-class destroyers for the Royal Canadian Navy. These ships are to replace the 12 Halifax-class patrol frigates, which first entered RCN service in 1991, and the 4 Tribal-class destroyers, the last of which was decommissioned in 2015. In 2010, as part of the National Shipbuilding Strategy, NSS, of the Harper Conservative government, it was budgeted for $26 billion for the construction of 15 warships, with the first of these to be delivered by 2026. The request for proposal for the CSC was sent to industry in 2016 by the Trudeau Liberals. A contract to build the first 3 River-class destroyers was issued to Irving Shipbuilding Industry in March of 2025, and construction of the first ship commenced the following month. Delivery of the first destroyer to the RCN is now listed as early 2030s. There is not yet a contract for the remaining 12 ships, yet the total project cost is now estimated to be $79 billion if the project remains on the current schedule. In contrast to the CSC saga, the Canadian Patrol Submarine Project, CPSP, seems to be moving at warp speed. Initiated in 2021, the CPSP seeks to acquire a fleet of 12 conventionally powered attack submarines with a limited under-ice capability to allow the RCN to conduct simultaneous patrols on all 3 of our coasts. This is an incredibly ambitious plan, with an equally ambitious timeline and a commensurate budget. Canada currently possesses 4 old British-built conventionally powered attack submarines. These Victoria-class subs were originally built as the Upholder class for the Royal Navy, with the first entering service in 1990. The first 4 of a planned 12 were completed before the project was cancelled, and the delivered Upholders were mothballed by the Royal Navy in 1994. For reasons that now seem inexplicable, Canada agreed to acquire these 4 problem-plagued subs, refurbish them and press them into service with the RCN. Not unsurprisingly, the renamed Victoria class have had a spotty service record over the past 25 years. The stated goal of the RCN is to maintain 270 submarine days at sea per year for the fleet. However, from 2000 to 2004, only 2 Victoria-class boats got to sea, and their total time deployed over 4 years was just a paltry 214 days at sea. The reason for this is not just the age of the subs, but also a lack of skilled personnel to operate these specialized subsurface warships. Hence, I find it incredibly ambitious for Canada to triple the number of submarines in the RCN service when they cannot fully crew the 4 that they have now. But I digress. As for the speed of the CPSP, it was announced this past August that the field of contending shipyards has been reduced to just 2 qualified bidders, Hanwha Ocean of Korea and ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems of Germany. The speculation in Ottawa is that a decision will be made before the end of this calendar year. The project calls for a first submarine delivered by 2035. If the submarine project timeline sounds almost too good to be true, you may be right. Those of us old enough to remember the 1980s will recall that we have done this dance before. In the Mulroney Conservative government era, Defense Minister Perrin Beatty tabled a white paper on defense. The Cold War was at its zenith, and US President Ronald Reagan was demanding that NATO allies spend more on defense. Sound familiar? Minister Beatty answered the call and called for Canada's acquisition of up to 12 nuclear-powered attack submarines. In the end, it was the US pressure that caused the cancellation of this ambitious project, as it would have allowed Canada to exercise sovereignty patrols under the Arctic ice cap. The Mulroney Conservatives announced the cancellation in the April 1989 budget. That, my friends, is a time-honored tradition when it comes to Canada's defence procurement. Seeing is believing. This has been On Target. I'm Scott Taylor.